Thank you for joining us for 3Bs on the Law podcast, hosted by Trisha Barita, Camille Canali, and Susan Dawson. Disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only, not meant to provide legal advice, and does not create an attorney-client relationship. Also remember, laws change or they differ by jurisdiction, so this is not a substitute for seeking legal counsel in your jurisdiction on the current law applicable to you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special episode of 3Bs on the Law. As everybody is well aware of by now, many businesses have been hit hard by COVID, and the 3Bs wanted to do a series about businesses that were able to pivot and reinvent themselves during COVID to bring new life to their businesses and to not only survive, but flourish. And so our first guest here that we have invited on our Pivot series is McLean, and she is an artist, she's a coach, she's a collaborator, and she's also one of my best friends. And before I let her speak, I have to tell a story. When I first met Bree, and she came over to my house, and she's picking something up, and honest to God, even to this day, I don't remember what it was. She's standing in my entryway, and she looks at me, and she's like, "That's a really ugly color on your wall." Like, nothing, like, no intro to that, no nothing. But then, oh my God, whips out her color deck, makes me go get a pen and paper, write down the name of the color that I was supposed to go buy, and repaint my entryway. And sure enough, to this day, it looks fabulous. Oh. So without further ado, Gabrielle, thank you so much for helping me pick out my colors because I'm terrible at it. But also welcome. And would you tell people, please, about your business? Because it's really interesting.
Sure. Thank you for having me on. And I, to this day, I don't remember what color it was or what color I picked for you. That's how long it's been since I've seen your entry. My business, I have two. I've been a professional mural artist now, fine artist, large paintings for about 28 years. And about 5 years ago, or in 2017, actually, so it feels longer, but it's about 4 years ago, I started Heartfelt Play Studio. And it was a space where I wanted people to experience what the creative process felt like without comparison and without judgment and without being really committed to any kind of specific result, because I think that the process is far more important than the result. And as a professional painter and an artist, I call myself an artist now, and I didn't for many years, even though that's what I did professionally. I think that the process, there's an internal thing that's a transformation that happens if you fully engage in the creative process. And it doesn't have to be paint. It can be gardening. It can be cooking. I mean, there's so many creative things. I do believe we're innately creative. And I think a lot of people, because they can't draw a straight line, they think they're not creative. And that leap, I think, it's a dangerous leap. And I'm part of what I'm doing through coaching and through my collaborations is to really try to get people to see their creativity as nothing to do with art. It has to do with a process. So to that end, Heartfelt Play is an event space where I would have team building. I had the first annual gender summit for a high school down here in Orange County. I have, we would do birthday parties and different types of events, but the things that really made me happy were the team building events and these gender summits and some of these other things that we had in the works. In addition to, I have a couple clients where I do these large scale commissioned pieces for them, and it's a return client. So I have one studio dedicated to those pieces, those large pieces that are these proprietary pieces that I do. And then the other side was a public space, a semi-public space.
That's really cool. Wow, I love that. Yeah, it is funny. I can't draw at all. And everybody that I work with makes fun of my handwriting because it's so terrible. I could barely draw a stick figure. And you're right, I don't think of myself as a creative, but then I've got other, creative outlets. So I think that's really fascinating that you're addressing that for people. So your business, about how old, when did you start it, and where were you kind of right when COVID, before COVID, where was your business at?
So my business right before COVID, it was actually I felt like I had finally created enough of a buzz around what I was doing that I was having people call me, and we were talking about all the different events we were doing, and I was having interest in booking the space. And then COVID hit, and I was really doing well with my private stuff as well. So I felt like I was in a good space, and I was really looking forward to, it finally felt like I had it dialed in and I was ready to go forward. And then COVID hit, and that first 2 weeks, the thing is that first 2 weeks, and I was in shock. I mean, I'm pausing because I didn't even know what I thought. I was like, we can't get together. I have an event space it's a brick and mortar space. It's a 1,700 square foot space. And, my landlords are everything was in flux. And then all my commissioned paintings, I don't remember how many I had in the studio. I think I had 6 in the studio that were completed, but I hadn't been paid. And that client said, I'm so sorry, I can't take them. So I had all this finished work that I can't sell to anybody else. And it's just sitting in this inventory. And then I had these events that were suddenly not on the table. So I thought, well, it's only short term. So I looked at all these different options because, again, I looked at getting out of my lease. I looked at subleasing. I looked at subleasing to artists, subleasing to another vendor. I spent hours and hours moving all sorts of stuff from one studio to the next so that I could rent it out on short notice, which was incredibly time consuming and just kind of chaotic in my head. And then and summer hit, and we were all just kind of waiting and seeing, and then slowly but surely, and I was in the process of actually selling my house as well, and it had gone onto the market at the end of February, and so of course nothing happened there either. So we were just in this really big limbo for me, a lot of different levels. But the thing that for me was that it was temporary, and so much of what I do in Heartfelt Play is really, for me, it was very critical that I was with people in person. So, and I'm not a computer person in the sense that I don't like the disconnection that the computer gives me. And so people were saying, you need to get good at Zoom, you need to do this, you need to do the long term. And I resisted, really. I mean, I'll be honest. And I said, I'm going to wait it out. I know we're going to be able to get back. And it's by the end of summer, by fall, it's great. I mean, I thought about letting people come in and socially distance, kind of learning, because I have this big empty space. And so I thought, okay, I can do that short term. Here's the point. Everything was short term. And then I don't know when it hit me, but when it hit me probably a month ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, in the middle of summer, where this isn't going away. And when they said school, we're not even going back in the fall. And I have a 10-year-old, and something in me shifted, and I went from, I just need to make it through this short-term thing, to, oh, good grief, I have to figure out a way to take my business entirely online at a moment's notice. So what does that look like? So really, it felt like a kaleidoscope that got turned, and I just saw everything from a different point of view. So I delved into, what does it look like to be on Zoom? What does it look like for Google Classroom? What are people looking for that they're not getting, and what do I have to offer? So one of the things that COVID did for me was it forced me to get very, very granular with what my particular gift is that I can offer, because I was doing a lot before this. And, I was kind of, running around these big paintings, and I was throwing events, and some of it was good, some of it wasn't so great. It didn't matter because I was so busy. And this, when everything stops, the water kind of, clears. And what I realized is that I really want to help people with this creative process, like really kind of do this inner transformation that happens when somebody realizes that who they are is this beautiful person, and they don't have to be anywhere different than they are to be as beautiful as they are. There's a transformation that happens, and their self-confidence goes up in all areas of their lives, actually. And so I started working with people, individuals, to work through this process with them and guide them through this creative process that I do. I'm a certified Gallup strengths coach. I'm a strengths coach. And what I do is I use that to kind of, help me very efficiently figure out maybe what might be their creative outlet so that I'm not wasting a lot of time. This isn't therapy but it's still an emotional process. It's interesting. And so I use that to kind of get in where we are. We talk about what that looks like, what their strengths look like, which is an illuminating process for a lot of people. And then from that, I determine what I think we might do, what type of project. So for some people, it's an art project based on all this ephemera that they've collected over their life and they don't know what to do with. So we create these self-portraits that I then, put my kind of spin on afterwards, after we talk and process. For some other people, I do art boxes. I curate art boxes and I send them these kind of supplies that are based on their strengths, based on what they like, based on just different stuff that I think they'll like, and they create a project from that. I work straight up strengths with people. So yeah, I'm working with that, and I'm having a lot of, it's really meaningful. It's really powerful to me to be able to collaborate with people on something that, it allows them to see, like I said, I meet them where they are. They see what they can accomplish when they thought that they weren't creative, right? It's like, okay, you're not creative, but look what you just did. And it's been my experience, and I have this through my community nights at Heartfelt Play when we could have them, that I would be able to, like, they take ownership. They don't even have to do it all. People will collaborate and they can still take ownership, which is this amazing, it's an amazing self-awareness and self-confidence building tool. I don't know. It's like this hack into feeling better about yourself. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing.
What are the silver linings that you've had from this?
The silver linings are that the main one is that working online, once I get the technology, which I'm still working on, but I'm definitely dialing it in, is I get to work with people all over the country now. I'm working with somebody in Canada. I've got some people up north. Like, I feel like that was never an option before, because I would never look at that. It had to be in person. You had to come to the studio. And now I'm like, hey, I have ways that I can work around that. I can send you stuff. We can talk. I screen share. We laugh. Yeah, it's great. So that's a major silver lining. Another one is that I have this deep desire, as I think most people do, to connect to another person, not to a big group. I'm not a big group kind of person. I like the one-on-one or a small group, and I can do that on Zoom. At first I thought I didn't like it because I was used to the in-person, but now I've grown used to it, and there's a lot of connection to still be had, even digitally and remotely. And so I'm really seeing the value of that, and then I can shut the computer and I can get on with my life. So it's an incredibly efficient kind of hack into connecting, and then then I move on. I don't have to clean the studio. I don't have to prep it. I don't have to clean brushes. I don't have to do any of that. So really, like, people.
That's the silver lining, is the no cleaning.
No cleaning. I love it.
I mean, it would take us 8 hours to clean after an event. Like, it was because we throw paint at the walls. We use Nerf guns. We scream and dance and yell. And I mean, we get paint on the floor, like the walls, because we can wash it. We have this life-size cow that we paint. Like, we can do these really fun things, but they're messy. I mean, we hose kids off in the back alley sometimes. So, I mean, it's really super fun, but it's very, very, whole body experience. But I'm seeing that I can take this, it won't be that, but it'll be something that still allows people to connect to one another and to themselves. So I'm super excited about that, actually, going forward.
So I love that. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I love that you were really a brick and mortar, very localized business. Mm-hmm. And I love that you didn't immediately think, well, how am I going to change everything? You kind of went through the process, and then now you've transformed your business to, having this not only online capability, but instead of being localized, you can go anywhere with the business now. And I think that's really cool. I mean, what are you seeing? I know you're just getting it up and running, but what kind of response have you had outside of your localized area to your business now that you're promoting it on an internet basis or
I'm still just starting, so not that many people at this point know that I am working online, but like the people in Canada or the person in Canada, there's only one so far.
Hey, but you still have one in Canada.
I'm like, it's Oh.
You didn't have that one before, so there you go.
Not at all. And actually, it's interesting because I've never met her in person, right? So I don't have anything to compare it to. So my connection to her is full. It's whole because I don't have anything to compare it to. So I realized once I started online with people I didn't know in person, I realized that hump, like I said, that clunk into place of, oh my God, I need to look at online. I can't hold out for another year. And so ironically, in terms of the other studio, the Heartfelt Play side, it was not leasing. Like I put it on for months and months, and I had it like professionally leased. It wasn't, I mean, I was not doing it myself. Let's put it that way. So ironically, I didn't want to walk away from it at all. And I'm still on the hook for it. And I decided, I had my first, anyway, I'm using it for my stuff. I'm using it for my private paintings. I'm using it for my coaching. So I took this space and I just revamped it. And I now have it set up so that I can do remote learning. I can do coaching from a larger, like one of my studios is filled with supplies, like chock full of supplies. And then the other one is white. So the white one, I can get really messy and I can, like I said, I can do things that are large that I can't do in this studio. So it actually expanded my coaching capability, which was crazy because that never occurred to me before COVID. And now I'm bigger. I have more options as a coach, not less. It's crazy. Like, yeah, it's very cool.
People want to get in touch with you. What's the best way to do that?
The website, www.heartfeltplay.com. And through there, you'll get my email. There's a phone number. And if you want any information, just call the phone number and I'll call you back.
Awesome. And so we have started a little contest. Trisha, who couldn't be with us today, and Susan and myself, and we give each guest 3 choices. And you better pick mine. I'm just telling you in advance because Trisha's ahead and we can't let Susan win because she's going to make us wear a cheesehead hat.
So you want me to win because it'll be fun.
So if you had to pick a city, hang on. If you had to pick a city, would you pick Los Angeles, Chicago, or Houston, Texas?
Just pick a city
to live in for the rest of your life.
Los Angeles.
Rigged.
The weather is stunning. The diversity is stunning. I can go to the mountains. I can go to the ocean. I can work 365 days a year in my flip-flops. Los Angeles, for sure.
I'm just going to leave it on a win, Susan. I'm leaving on the
All righty. Well, one of these days I'm going to get one of my Chicagoans on here, and they're gonna go with me. Trisha rigged the last one, but don't you worry. I like to come in and sneak up from behind everyone and pull out that win in the end.
All right. So if you're interested in having your business featured on 3Bs on the Law for your pivot, please contact us on our website, or you can contact us via our email. Thank you for joining us on this episode of 3Bs on the Law. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us on today's podcast of 3Bs on the Law. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast. We also welcome any comments. If you'd like to get in touch with us or suggest a future topic, you can email us at 3THREEBsonthelaw@gmail.com. And because we're lawyers, we need to remind you that this podcast is not meant to provide you with legal advice and does not create an attorney-client relationship. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great day.